Hey, all my people, hello. Second day of EngX conference. And the second day in a row, I'm welcoming you, and I'm the first one that you see on your screens. So it's the morning. Basically, it's starting to be lunch already, but yeah, kind of close to the morning. And I'm having my coffee. Now you can see it. I'm having my coffee, and I hope you're having yours too, or you already had one. As you did yesterday, please write down in the comments whether you have your coffee or tea or any other energizing drink. Probably you have some. All right, about our first speech. So I have to give you a little bit of context probably, because our speaker, Volodymyr, and myself, we're in Ukraine, and you probably know that there's a war going on in Ukraine for around 9 months already. So it started in February. And our speech, I mean, not ours, but Volodymyr's speech is about on how do you actually work during war? How do you deliver? How do you not burn out? And how do you actually survive, right? So passing my word to Volodymyr, and I hope everyone enjoys this speech because it was very hard to create one. And you know, Volodymyr, stage is yours.
Thank you, Mikita. Hello, everyone. Happy to see you here. So yes, today I will tell you a story, and I hope then we'll discuss this story all together about the delivery management during the war. As we all know, the delivery management itself is quite a challenging part, but the delivery management during the situation which you are not able to predict is challenging in twice. So let's go. About me, my name is Volodymyr. I'm a software engineering manager in Epam. I have about 12 years of production experience. I played almost all roles in development cycle, from the developer to software architect, maybe except business analyst. That's one I missed. Also, I'm an EngX expert in Epam, and my main goal is to build up the standards and establish processes for our clients so they can achieve their excellence. So let's go. Today, I will tell you a story how we actually prepared to this situation, how we entered this situation, what happened during the first quarter of war, and how we organized the delivery during this time. The current state and our future plans and goals. So, the project set up before the war. I joined this project in December 2021. May I say that my full efficiency started in January 2021. So the project had 2 delivery streams. There were about 30 people. Most of them were located in Ukraine, and we had a delivery manager role, solution architect role, business analytic, 2 team leads, 2 automation engineers, 4 QAs, and 19 developers. So pretty standard setup for any kind of project. During December, January, we experienced some issues with our delivery. So it was not smooth during this time. We have quite a lot of cases of the story carryovers. We had problems with production stabilization during the regression sprints and high level of burnout of the employees. I would like to highlight that we are working on the safe approach, so a scaled Scrum approach, and we have a PI cycles which consist about 6 sprints, so it's about 3 or 4 months. So, in January, we start to prepare for something we are not able to prepare to. What we did, we start analyze our risks and provide some plans how to mitigate this risk, because as you may know that even a bad plan is much better than none. So the first risk was to lose command and control, and the possible communication disruptions was our highest priority. So to mitigate this, we collect personal communication channels besides the official Epam channels, and we share them across all the team members. So we were trying to establish horizontal communication within the team to ensure that we'll have command and control in place, whatever happens. Also, we anticipate that people won't be able to work due to the personal risk or general conditions, such as absence of electricity or connectivity or whatever. So Epam and the project identified high-risk zones in Ukraine, such as East Zone or Central area, and Epam encouraged all Epam employees to move even before the war to the safer Western regions, if it's possible. Epam actually prepared quite good office locations there and all conditions so people can actually live and work from the new area. Also, we identify critical positions to cover them in case of need with the new BCP hirings. And since I already mentioned that we got some delivery issues, we expect that they will skyrocket during the chaotic times. So what we do to mitigate this? Actually, it was like a common plan for mitigation of any delivery issues. Since we have the whole PI ahead, and we know what we'll do, we refined and verify each story and feature before the PI has been started. All critical information which has high importance for our delivery was moved to the ADO wiki, so we start to contribute and maintain our documentation. And all sprints in the PI were planned based on the story, complexity, and priority. So in ideal case, there should be no changes at all, but in the worst case, we'll just adjust this plan to the current situation. And team management was able to negotiate with the customer a bit higher buffer for the general uncertainty during the development, because we had this argument that we already have some delivery issues, and we keep in mind that we might have some higher risks of uncertainty. That's why this buffer was applied. So it was not like a classical 20%, it was about 30%. The strong points which we rely on. The team was originally a distributed team, so we were not working from the office from the very first day of the project. And this reduced the risks that the negative impact will actually apply to all team members at once. All critical points of the delivery process were defined with the team and the customer and formalized. Some of the team members were managed to leave the country before or at the very first day of the war, because at the 24th of February, we gave everyone several days of day off just to ensure that people can move themselves and their families to the safer place and ensure that they can live and work there. Also, I would like to mention that the team is highly professional and highly motivated, and that helped us really a lot. And we had in place cross-functional training. So as you may remember that we had 2 streams, and each stream has their own focus area, but people were trained in such way that they can substitute each other, and they can move freely from one sprint, from one stream to another without any overhead, and they can cover gaps. And we had this extra buffer during the planning. So we were trying to rely on the strong points. So the 24th of February happened, and sorry about that. And the war has been started. What happened there? At the very first days, we understood that not all teammates were able to work for a few first weeks. Even I was not able to join the project for 3 weeks in a row. But the fun fact was when I get to the safe place and joined back to the team, I've seen that everything is fine. They just follow the plan, which we built up previously, and I was really happy as a delivery manager that they don't need me at all in this situation. So that was a big relief, and actually anticipate that our delivery was already jeopardized. But instead of that, because we had a plan and we follow up this plan and everyone knows what to do because it was written down, they just follow it. And like 95% of work has been completed in time, and there were no major issues. Also, some of our team members were managed to escape from the country, but to the regions and areas which were not acceptable by our client due to the legal reasons, by the contract reasons and such things. So we negotiate with the client their rotation, but we negotiated in the following way, that we have enough time to cover the knowledge transfer, the training sessions, and we ensure that our delivery is not affected. Also, it gives some time for people in France, for instance, or other regions to prepare for this rotation, and they know about it, so their resource manager can actually find the new projects. And we had another challenge to onboard our BCP resources in the fastest way possible. But since we had a plan in place and all documentation in place, this process went really smooth. And due to the long transition period, we actually were managed to onboard everyone, and we even had like a higher performance since we had this transition period for 2 months, and since the second month we got two employees with a full efficiency working on the same thing. So we even win some performance there. The results of the first quarter was that we delivered 6 objectives, 5 were committed, 1 was optional. And we built up the personal BCP plans for each team member. And we understand that if someone is not able to work today, who can cover his work during this day. And also rotations didn't affect our delivery too much. But as we all know that delivery is based on the people. So we should work with the people and work with their motivations. What kind of challenges we faced during the first quarter? That people were not able to focus fully on their actual tasks. People were tired by non-optimized Scrum ceremonies. Scrum is a nice framework, but it's not adopted to such things as a high stress, which affects everyone during this time. And people were really tired about all those meetings they have to attend. And the general situation actually has a high pressure on everyone. So we experienced quite a severe situation with burnout, caused not only by high load on the project, but with a general situation. What kind of answers we found with the team? First of all, we start to experiment with our Scrum ceremonies. And at the very first step, we decided that on Friday, we will not have the daily stand-up. Instead of that, you just can quote your status into the team channel, and that's it. If you have any issues, impediments, blockers, you just raise a red flag there, and we can deal with them with according audience. Then we extend this routine to Monday as well, because it's always hard to start a new week, especially with some kind of morning call when you have to attend it and you have to talk about something. And to be honest, we all know that during daily stand-up, many people are just sleeping yet, and they need to drink their coffee. They are not yet productive. So we made this experiment, and our productivity actually grows. On Friday, we try to keep it free of any kind of distraction. So Friday is a focus day for work, I would say, because we keep it free from calls, except some really important one. And we invite only people who has to attend these calls, not everyone. And then we understood that still this situation is still pressing everyone, and every team, even in like normal time, needs some kind of recreational activities, some team buildings and other things. What we decide to do? On Friday, we book an hour of our time to spend together and have some recreational activity. We playing online games, we playing cards, we playing Mafia and other things. We just spend time together and have fun. Actually, it gives you a possibility to reduce the general pressure on the team members, build up stronger ties between team members, and this is a good exercise, I would say, to keep it on a regular basis, just to ensure that your team is highly motivated and the stress level, at least you have some ways how you can actually control the stress level of the team. But besides that, we need to achieve good delivery. We need to follow up the EngX practices, because EngX is a culture which Epam actually actively develops to ensure that your delivery will be running smoothly and you have the best results out of any situation. So what things actually helped us? Some of these EngX practices were established even before I joined the project. Some of them were developed during this year, and we are going to extend them actually. The static code analyzer built in our pipelines to measure code quality and code coverage actually helped us a lot, because this is the first safety net. You should ensure that your process helps people to spend less time and less effort to deliver something. And we need to keep an eye not only on some functionality, but its quality. So static code analyzers are really good in this case. And we established the pull request guards to check if code meets the code coverage and quality requirements. It reduced the load to our QAs. So QA knows which parts are covered with automation, and they will just test the rest of the part, like happy paths, critical paths, and such things. We adopt recently automation test execution on a daily basis against all environments. It helps us to keep our automation pipelines up to date, and we know what kind of issues happen on our environments, so we can act more proactively there. We understood that at some point we were overwhelmed with bugs, so we start the root cause analysis on a regular basis, and the outcomes of this exercise is the analytics of the root cause itself, where it happened, why it happened, what can be done, and we start to fill up our technical backlog, and we start to deal with it. So customer actually starts to see what things can be improved. They understand the price of the bug, and it's easier for us to sell some tech debt during the planning. Also, a really good part was that we, since the very beginning, we got static and dynamic security analyzers tools built into our pipeline. What I can say that the next step with these tools would be a shift left approach, because currently they are applying just for our release branch, but we would like to extend them to the development branch as well. And we made our test automation as an essential part of the testing strategy. We need to rely more on some automated activities and spend time of our QAs and developers only on there where they are really needed. So test automation is a critical part to reduce the load on your project and make sure that your delivery will be smooth. It helps you actually to face issues earlier, and you have more time to deal with them. So how it goes since nine months of such complex times and complex delivery. What are our results? A few insights. During these 9 months, we delivered 13 objectives. We achieved full cross-functional expertise across 2 streams. So we can shuffle people from one stream to another and vice versa without any kind of delay. Everyone knows what we are doing, and everyone knows what they have to do in one or another stream with working one or another component. We built a horizontal network within the Epam and the customer streams. Horizontal network is essential, especially if you don't want to lose command and control during your delivery and management. Because if people can communicate with each other, they have ability to build up something together, it's always essential for you. Because in such case, even if some of team members are not able to work during some period of time, there are other people who are in context and they can help us. And usually people when you have like really strong horizontal connectivity between people, they will start to bring you some ideas from the bottom, which will help you to build up the better delivery and more reliable environment. And also we build up a trusted relationship with our client because they understood that we are able to work besides all odds, and we are able to deliver everything they actually expect from us, even during such things and such circumstances. Another small insight, you can see here for last 9 months, the charts which actually represents the commitment rate and committed versus completed. I would say that I'm really proud of such results, of the team results, because they made tremendous job here. Such results are amazing even during the normal time, because as you can see, people are working more than 100% of their capabilities. And during such complicated time, these results is amazing. So I just would like to give my deepest thanks to everyone who contributed to them, because that was a great team effort and a great team result. So what lies ahead? As you may understand, that EngX practices and flexible approach to some managerial practices allows us to maintain the good delivery during all these 9 months. And we need to understand what should we do in the future to keep up the same pace and to move to the same direction. First of all, continue to understand and maybe adopt some new ways how we can support the team. Because there are already, as you know, some activities as Friday with no meetings, Friday recreational hour, Monday stand-up with no stand-up at all. And we need to think about other ways how we actually can reduce the pressure and make people more efficient. And so they will understand that they are valued, that we support them and we support each other. Also, we need to review and revisit our individual BCP plans on regular basis, because situation may change rapidly and we need to be prepared for everything. Also, we will continue to build up EngX culture in our teams and adopt the very best practices. It's also always a big challenge of the EngX practices, because in Epam, when you came with EngX audit to some project, you just mentioned some gaps and places for improvements. And usually it takes quite a while for a team to adopt your suggestions and improvements. Here we were managed to adopt quite a lot of them during this year, and we will continue this effort to extend and our best practices and share them. And also we start to influence to our customer culture. So they will starting to adopt some approaches of the EngX mindset, and we start to change it for the customer. So it will help us to build up even better development community within our project, and not only in the Epam teams, but in customer teams, and make everyone more efficient. I would like again to express my deepest gratitude to everyone who actually makes this happen, because without the team, without of our team members who are working every day on the delivery, without the team members who join the army and protect us during these dark days, without actually Ukrainian army, we were not able to achieve this. So thank you guys, you're the very best. Okay, it's time for your questions. I will be happy to answer them. Mikita, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. I'm just
Awesome.
waiting for Alexander to connect me to. Cool. So I'm here. Okay. So first of all, we have a couple of questions in our chat as usual, but I would like to use my preference to ask the first question from myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this question would be, how did your customer react to all the things that were happening? To some, I mean, in the very beginning, right? Because when the situation was already stabilized and you started to show your great performance with your outstanding commitments and stuff like that. But in the very beginning, what was the reaction, and were there any, I don't know, problems or something?
Actually, the reaction was really supportive. They supported us. They were really worried sick about this whole situation and about each team member, and they were trying to help us. So I would say the customer, actually, sorry about the cat, the customer tried their best on their side to ensure that people feel their support and they are valued. And it was really great because at the very beginning, what's going on, and we received this message from our customer. So we did our best, and they did their best, and we have this result.
Awesome. It's really outstanding. Okay, I'm switching to the questions from the chat, and then we'll probably talk a little bit more about what was happening. So the first one is from Matteo.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, every topic. Sorry, I lost the question. Has a must-have book that you considered as a Bible. So can you suggest which book is the Bible for delivery management for you?
Actually, the delivery management handbook from the Epam, where we actually collecting all the best practices, and the EngX culture as well, because quite a lot of guidelines. We understand lots of things, how to do them in regular way, in complex circumstances. So I would say that our Epam knowledge base would be a Bible for me in this case, because other books are really fine, but they are not covering this process with such details and complexity. And I would say that Epam has the very best knowledge base around this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. The next one is from Gordon. So do you have anyone who didn't want to or was not in the mood for recreational activities? And how did you deal with that?
First of all, recreational activity is optional. If you would like to join, you join. If you don't want to do this, you won't. Sorry about that. A small cat actually tries to be the star. It's completely optional. You can join if you would like to. First case. Second case, we're trying to negotiate what are we going to do during this activity. So sometimes we choose to play some online games with, like, let's say, small racing cars which can fire each other and hit each other. Another day we may choose another activity, or we just can sit all together and talk about everything. So it's more about what people does want in a specific moment, and we are trying to meet these expectations. That's it.
All right, makes sense. And by the way, can you? I will add to this question. So, what is approximate percentage of the people from your team that really participated in those activities?
About 45–50%.
Okay, so approximately every second person on your team participates in your recreational activities.
Yes.
That's great. What about others?
You see, this hour is booked for recreational activity for everyone, so they may choose to spend it on something they would like to. For instance, some of our team members are doing some experiments with Arduino, or they doing something that they would like to do, but they don't have time because they have to work or they have family matters to attend. And this hour is booked from the regular working hours. So people actually can plan it however they want. It's their own time.
Okay. So this is an extra hour of free time for any kind of activities, and if you want to participate in a recreational event that is being organized in parallel, you can easily do it.
Yes, of course. Of course, we're considering that in case of delivery emergency or some kind of big problems, we will cancel this hour. But if everything going according to the plan, this time will be booked.
Cool. Kudos to the team for achieving success during tough times.
Thank you.
I'm joining this, yeah. So really curious, a question from Evgeny. Really curious about your experience regarding how do you and your team currently deal with internet or electricity issues?
It's a good question. First of all, since we are trying not to rely on the regular meetings where everyone is participating, but rather on some other channels of communication and have meetings with limited amount of people who really need it there, it reduces the impact, the first hand. Second part, that we are trying to build the BCP activities for everyone, so people know that in case of electricity absence, they have some power generators, they can visit offices, they are flexible, so they can actually do some work not during the power outage time, but a bit later or a bit earlier if it's possible. So we are trying to be flexible and avoid disruptions by this way. So for instance, if you see that during the morning you have power outage, you're not able to join our calls, it's not a big deal. You just send your status and you highlight the highest risk you can actually observe. Other people actually will know about it, and they will take care about the risks, and they will be aware about the situation. So it's more a matter of communication and highlighting the most important parts for everyone, so everyone else who doesn't have this power outage can help you.
Okay, so the main recipe for dealing with such kind of problems is flexibility.
Yes.
Totally
and
makes
horizontal
sense.
network.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Okay, the next question from Vasily. If you have estimated that some of the Scrum practices were worth to drop in a high stress situation, could it be an indicator that in normal environment, they are also non-beneficial and create more problems than value?
It's a good question. To be honest, my personal impression that Scrum is quite old and it needs to be revisited. Because I know that I'm entering the area of the holy wars, because Scrum Masters may start to react to my words not like in the best way, but I do believe that every managerial framework should be revisited, and it has to be adopted to something you really need. So it needs to be aligned with your goals and your current situation. And I would say Scrum in general, because, ideal Scrum, maybe it's perfect, but just in an ideal world. But we are working in the real world, and even during the normal time, during the normal delivery, you may notice that sometimes exhausting ceremonies or not optimized ceremonies may actually affect you and affect you really badly. That's why it's always to revisit your practices and understand what are the goals, or what you would like to achieve, what kind of artifacts you would like to have, how they will help you, and how you can actually reduce amount of non-optimized meetings and make them optimized. So it's a big question. I would say we can have additional speech about this because it's a complex one, especially if you try to align Scrum with the delivery practices. For instance, from my point of view, Scrum is quite well fitting to the continuous delivery, where you can actually deploy to production as frequently as you want and as many times as you want, and whenever you want. And for instance, other approaches will fit the best for other cases. Sorry. So we have to understand.
Yes. Your cat wants to participate in your presentation too, as I can see.
Actually, she would like to participate in all my meetings where I have camera on. So yeah, we need to adopt all your managerial approach to the situation you have. And I wouldn't say that Scrum itself is a bad approach, but it fits better to some circumstances and some delivery practices and doesn't fit to others. So you have to consider to adopt what you're doing to your situation.
Okay, I would extend this question. So what would you recommend to use in this case, or what would you recommend to change in Scrum to fit such kind of stressful situations?
First of all, do not follow blindly to some requirements which are not fit to your situation. So if you see that Scrum actually expects some meetings on a daily basis, and you see that there is they actually makes more harm to your team than brings a value, just change them. Think with the team how you can actually make them more valuable to everyone, and how you can actually reduce the negative impact. That's the important part. So you have to work with your team and with your customer to understand the goals and to understand the pitfalls and what are you doing, because every managerial framework is just some kind of rules which may be or may not be applicable to your situation. So revisit them and understand what's good, what's bad, and what you should do. And please do not forget that managerial part is just it's important part, but it's just a part of the global delivery. And delivery consists of development, testing, business analysis, and other things. So you have to understand that everything should work together to bring you the most value. And so I would say that you have to assess this problem in context.
Okay, from your experience of such kind of let's say extreme situations, so did you change your approaches to any of engineering practices? Let's now talk not about the process itself, but about engineering practices. So were there any changes applied based on experience, or did you feel that you lack something based on this experience?
I would say that we are still missing some EngX best practices in place. We are going to adopt them, but it takes some time. It takes time for a team to change the way of doing. It takes time for the customer to accept them. But in general, what are we trying to do? We're trying to revisit our practices on a regular basis during the during our meetings, and collect the feedback, understand what gaps do we have to adopt to the current situation.
Yeah, but you do this on a regular basis. But for now, based on your experience, what was changed?
What was changed? We start to rely more on our automation. Actually, an answer of Captain Obvious that automation helps you a lot. But at the very beginning of the year, we got quite a huge tech debt in the automation side. During this year, we increased the automation coverage significantly, and we start to rely on our automation more and more every product increment cycle. So we changed this part, and we start to make our automation results more visible to the team and to the customer, because before that, at the very beginning of the year, we had some automation, but no one sees the result unless you go specifically there and check. And there were a lot of false positives, there were unstable tests, so they didn't bring as much value as we expect from it. Right now, the situation completely different, and we start to actually share the daily results with everyone. It's a part of our routine to analyze the results and understand where do we have bugs, gaps, or something like this. Also, the changes were made in the QA process with root cause analysis, because of course we understand each bug individually, but we start to analyze them on a larger scale and understand what kind of issues we regularly experiencing during different parts of development, and what can we do with similar issue group to mitigate them, to deal with them, what can be done to improve the situation. So that's something we actually introduced this year.
Okay, cool. There are a lot of comments in the chat about how your team is outstanding, that you have very healthy environment, and so on and so forth. Really a lot of them. So my question is, did the war help you to build more healthy culture, or you built this healthy culture already going into the circumstances that the war brought you?
Actually, we have to build a healthy culture no matter what, and Epam as a company actually encouraged, and it's like our top priority to have healthy engineering culture everywhere, and we are trying to extend it to all our teams, to the customer teams. And I wouldn't say that the war helped us to be to build more healthier culture. No, it's something which is, I would say, within the Epam DNA to value people, to support them, and to build the processes. So it's just something which was inside us and helped us during this time.
Okay, so what I want to know is, did your engineering culture help you in such circumstances?
Yes, definitely. As I already mentioned, that EngX practices and team culture actually helped us to survive during these hard times, to achieve the outstanding results, which are really hard to achieve, even in normal way. And that's something you should have in place no matter what, because a situation may change rapidly, and of course I do hope that you won't face such challenges as my team does during this war, but
I did actually, but I mean, in our auditorium, I don't think that we wouldn't want that anyone to have
experience
such
things. Yes, agree. But to have reliable delivery and to be prepared for something you are not able to be prepared, you should have processes, good processes, and healthy culture in place. Of course, that's the very first hand, because even like you have to start to write plans. You have to formalize many things and formalize them in the way how they actually can provide some value to you and your team members. It's not should be like a process because of the process. It should be something which will help you. In Epam, we have lots of tools to achieve that. And of course, EngX is one of them. It's like a full toolbox, and you can apply different EngX approaches to different situations and move your delivery situation from the very bad to the very good. But it will take some time and efforts from your side.
Yeah, and talking about the culture, I just want to remind you guys that you have now, Volodymyr told you about the impact basically of the engineering culture, because all that was told would be almost impossible without having a strong engineering culture in the team. And to remind you that our next speech is basically about engineering culture. It's called the Scaling EngX Culture as We Grow. So don't hesitate and come to listen to our colleagues about the EngX culture. Volodymyr, the chat requires your cat. There are a lot of
my wife already took her, so sorry guys. You'll be able to see her in the recording.
Okay. Cool. So one more question about the engineering, sorry, not engineering practices, but about the processes. Have you considered to switch to Kanban based on your experience of such critical situations? And I would add to this question, in your opinion, would it help or not?
No, we didn't consider to use Kanban because we have this product incremental cycle, and we have to deliver something to the production at the very end of this product increment. It's about 3 or 4 months of delivery. So Kanban works well when you have unpredictable amount of requirements and work for some period of time. And here we got pretty high visibility. What should we do for the next 4 months? So our process is a bit closer to the waterfall than to agile approach. But again, we have high level of agility to reprioritize these things, understand what can be, what should be done at the very first hand, what things we can sacrifice. And we have this buffer to cover some unexpected changes as well. So we keep things flexible, but try to have a long-term perspective strict because we have to achieve them. How we achieving them? It's more flexible way during this the PI itself, but again, the main business objectives has to be met, and we can do this only if we keep them in mind. And since the business objectives are quite clear for some period of time in advance, then I don't see here any need of Kanban right away. If you have like unpredictable amount of work during some period of time, so one day you have nothing, another day you have like 25 stories, and next day you have nothing, then yes, we can actually adopt the Kanban. But with a predictable load, you shouldn't do this.
Right. Probably the last question that I have for you is about planning. So whether you create plans in such an critical situation, and if you do, how?
Actually, we always trying to plan our next steps, our work, and what we are going to achieve. So we are building plans for the PI, the whole PI cycle. We are trying to build some plans, like long-term plans for several PIs and for at least a year. Of course, the level of details is a bit different across them. Also, we are building quite detailed plans for next few sprints. They, of course, can be changed because of changing of priorities, some unforeseen difficulties. But we should understand what are we doing today and what we are going to do tomorrow and what other priorities are. So I really appreciate the help of our customers. They always keen to help us with the priorities, and it helps us a lot because without good prioritization, you are not able to achieve the results. So the very important role here plays your customer. Also, I would say that there are not only delivery plans in general, but personal plans, what people should do in case of some unforeseen circumstances. They can be also like delivery related, such as what are we doing if we have a huge issue on production? Everything is on fire. Your actions. Actually, EngX can help you with such exercises and such culture, such approaches in your teams if you would like to, because EngX has answers almost on everything. And
1 minute, Volodymyr.
Yes. I know. And also, you need to maintain the plans of your personal work stability and what you will do in case of emergency from your side. And team should know that, okay, you are not able to work today. How can I cover you? So we won't affect our delivery, and you can deal with your own personal business.
Okay. Thank you very much, Volodymyr. I want to say last words from myself that I want all of us to give your cheers and kudos to not only Volodymyr and his team, but to all Ukrainian people and developers that are struggling with such a huge problem and showing a great strive to deliver excellence to our clients, even in such hard circumstances. So thank you very much, Volodymyr. Stand with Ukraine, and I wish you to have a great day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Mikita. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.